And hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of My Isolation Podcast. And today, we will finally be talking about Barbie, the mega summer hit that has been crushing the box office recently. In fact, I think as of this recording, because I'm recording this on the 7th of August, it just crossed the $1 billion mark. If I've got that right, let me just have a quick look. Let me just have a quick research. Very quickly, I should have done this beforehand, but oh well. Let's. Oh well. Oh well. It wouldn't be this an episode if I didn't look something up. And the screen has just gone pink, and all the thingies and all the fireworks are going off. Because that happens when you type Barbie movie into Google now. Yep. It's hit the 1 billion mark at the global box office. This film has just been crushing it as of late, and I'm finally getting around to talking about it. And because obviously I was supposed to do this with Alex, but as you can tell, he ain't here. He's not here at the moment. He's just very busy at the moment with his the cafe that he's running at the moment. He's got a lot to do. They just opened a second shop actually, which is crazy. So. They've opened a second shop, and he's just been, racing around that and everything. And summer in New York's always a good time for businesses like that. It's always peak for those businesses. So, you get loads of people coming for holidays and stuff. Unfortunately, I'm doing this solo, which sucks because I would have loved to have talked about this film with Alex, but I've still got a lot to say about this movie, so that's completely fine. I've also, in the meantime, been able to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. And I'll see if I can get him to do an episode on that. But if not, I can just go solo again. There'll be another episode coming with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. And then after that, I don't know what will be after that. Maybe Blue Beetle. Maybe Oppenheimer finally, which I've not seen yet. Because as I said beforehand, I was going to do the Barbieheimer double bill thing. But unfortunately, due to lack of funds, I had to only pick one of them, and I picked Barbie, and I'll explain in a few moments why. So Barbie, the movie based on the Mattel toy that's been around for decades and years and years and decades basically. It's been around for decades. And so there's always been, obviously we had the Barbie straight to DVD movies that came out around the late 2000s or something like that. Obviously I never watched those because as you can probably tell, I was never a big fan of Barbies. They weren't really the toy that I would play with. I was more of a Thomas the Tank Engine kid growing up, so I had no interest in Barbies. The only thing with Barbie that I liked as a kid was Toy Story 2, and she only makes a cameo appearance in that. A fun cameo appearance, to say, not that I was a bad cameo appearance, it was a very fun cameo appearance, but cameo appearance all the same. And so it was around, so I think a Barbie movie, like a live action adaptation, anyway, like something like that we've got here, has been in the works for a while, if I remember correctly. I think for quite a while. I remember back in, I want to say it was 2000, and let's see, I've got the development here. It's been in the works since 2009. Wow, this movie's been in the line for a while. But nothing came to fruition during then, and then obviously we had back in 2014, Sony decided to pick up the rights and trying to produce a movie, which God knows how that would have turned out. And then back in 2015. They brought on another writer to write the script, and Amy Pascal was on the producing team. Obviously, they're doing rewrites and stuff. And then 2016, Amy Schumer was in negotiations to be the title character. I think she rewrote the script as well, but she has exited negotiations. That's it. She exited negotiations in 2017. Apparently scheduling conflicts, but she later on revealed that it was actually creative differences. I think I heard somewhere that apparently it was going to be she was going to be playing the world's most ugly Barbie or something like that, which, if that's the case, that sounds incredibly mean-spirited, to say the least. And this is Sony we're talking about here, so that movie would have been terrible. I do like Amy Schumer as creative, though. I think she's very talented. I really loved that movie she did. What was it? Trainwreck? I really like Trainwreck. Trainwreck. That's it. yeah, I really like that movie. I really want to watch that show she did for Disney Plus or Hulu if you live in the USA. Cannot remember what it's called at the moment. Hopefully at some point I'll sit my ass down and I'll watch all episodes on that show because that show actually looked quite good. Um, and yeah, so then they got Anne Hathaway was under consideration at one point, and then around I can't remember what happened here, but I think around expired, that was it. Um, they expired. I think they transferred the project over to Warner Brothers back in 2018, and then they were talking. Margot Robbie got attached to be to be the title role and to also be a producer on it. And then obviously Greta Gerwig was brought on as the director, and I think the screenwriter as well. Well, she co-wrote it with her partner, and yeah, and then they filmed it, and then they released it, and now it's one of the biggest movies of 2023. In fact, let's quickly see what's charting at the moment, because last I checked, this was the third most successful movie of 2023. So let's have a quick look here. Yeah, oh god, no, it's gone up. It's number 2 now. It's just behind Super Mario Brothers. Oh damn, this has been a crazy year for movies. Barbie is number 2, the second highest grossing movie of 2023, and the second most successful movie of 2023. God knows if it's going to surpass it. It could actually. Wow. We'll see about that, won't we? So yeah, this movie was in development for a long time, and and obviously, as I said before, I never played with Barbies when I was a kid. I wasn't really interested in Barbies when I was a kid, so I didn't really have any interest in this movie when it was in production, when it was being worked on and stuff like that. So, but it was, and the thing with this movie, I feel like you could have had this movie, look the same, like have the same plot, have the same cast, have the same vibe to it, kind of look the same. I still wouldn't be interested in it. But the one person that kind of piqued my interest in this movie was not the cast or anything like that. It was the director, Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig is a director and a filmmaker. Is a filmmaker whose work just keeps getting better and better with each new project that she does. It's like she did obviously the only movie from hers that I have not, the only film that she's directed that I've not seen yet is Midnights and Weekends. I've not seen that movie yet. I think she co-directed that with somebody else. But I did watch Lady Bird, her first movie she directed completely on her own. My sister actually brought me the Blu-ray for that film back in 2019, I think it was, if I remember that correct. Yeah, it was 2019 because I remember, because her adaptation of Little Women had come out just then. Which I loved Lady Bird. I thought it was a great movie. I loved the kind of the deconstruction of the mother and daughter relationship, and I loved their kind of dynamic as well. And I liked it. In fact, it was funny, but it was also sweet and somewhat warm-hearted, and had that kind of coming of age kind of feeling to it. Which we love a good coming of age story here. We do. We love a good coming of age story here. And Little Women, I finally got around to watching last year. I watched that on Netflix. I'd been meaning to check it out for a very long time, and yeah, I loved that as well. I thought it was a really great adaptation. I liked the, how she was able to kind of find take this this recognizable story and kind of find a new view on it, so to speak. Kind of like she does with Barbie in a way. So kind of have this brand new kind of view on it, on the film, on the story. I really liked the cast. I thought they did a really good job as well. Emma Watson, Florence Pugh, and all the other ones whose names I am blanking on right now. And I also really liked her use of color to tell the stories, like how when you in the past with the flashbacks, all the colors are more orange. They've got this warm orange tint to them. Kind of show how these were the best of times, the great day, the good old days, the happier times of the family, of the sisters. And then in the present day, the colors are all dark and dim and kind of drowsy, and to show that these are the worst of times, that hard times have fallen on the family. And then the final scene, the colors are all back to being warm and fuzzy, and the orange tint has returned to show that light at the end of the tunnel and things are getting better for the family, stuff like that. I really liked her use of color correction in that in that film to specifically to tell the story. And she even talked about how she loved her use of color in this film, which looks really good, by the way. And she even cited there was a French movie that she talked about, which I generally can't remember the name of this French movie that she was talking about, but I do remember seeing clips of it on YouTube, and yeah, the colors in that movie really popped, and yeah, so I loved her other work, and I was like, she was the only reason why I wanted to go see this movie. I was like, because again, you would have had this movie look and feel the exact same, and I would not really have any interest. But the fact that her name appears in the credits, and I'm like, okay, a Barbie movie directed by Greta Gerwig. Let's see what this is. So, that's interesting. And yeah, so I went to go see it a couple of weeks ago. I think nearly 2 weeks ago now. I went to go see it because obviously, as I said before, I was going to do the Barbieheimer thing. By lack of funds, I only had to pick one, and I chose Barbie because honestly, Barbie is probably the one movie that interests me a little bit more. Not to say I wasn't interested in seeing Oppenheimer, but the thing with Oppenheimer is that it's a Christopher Nolan movie, and with Christopher Nolan, that most of the time his movies are going to be good. I mean, the only Christopher Nolan film that I've seen that I've been a bit I've not seen all his work, but I've seen the only film he's directed that I've been a bit eager about was Interstellar, and even then, that was mainly the second act of that movie was the thing that broke it for me. Really, the first act and the third act were good. It was the second act; it kind of just slumped in the middle, and I just found it really boring in the middle. But all these movies, I know they're going to be good. I even saw Tenet when that came out, and I really liked that movie. The sound mixing was a bit off, but I don't know. I think I'm guessing that was probably deliberate on him. But it was a little bit hard to a little bit frustrating, to not be able to, I can't hear what you're saying, Robert Pattinson. Can you speak up, please? Can we boost the audio a little bit here? But yeah, so I knew Oppenheimer, I knew I was gonna like that movie, and I probably will I will hopefully check it out at some point before it's the end of its theatrical run, at some point. But right now, I decided to go see Barbie because I was like, this is a movie that I'm more interested in seeing this than Oppenheimer. And overall, I fucking love this movie. I thought this movie was great. I had a great time with this. This movie, man, was terrific. I never thought I'd be saying this about a Barbie movie, but yeah, Greta Gerwig was able to make me actually care about a Barbie movie, which is bizarre. This has been a crazy time for movies. Just a crazy time for movies, man. We've had so many hits. We've been eating good. Guardians 3 turning out to be good. The Ant-Man and the Wasp turning out to be crap. The Super Mario Bros. Movie being the gigantic success that it is, which we knew it was going to be successful, but the fact that that movie is now the second highest grossing animated movie ever made. We do not count the live action Lion King movie in this house. We do not count that movie. That I do not count that. So no, Mario Bros. Is the second highest grossing anime movie ever made. And as of right now, the most successful movie of 2023. Who knew that was going to be a thing? Barbie doing really well, Oppenheimer doing very well, coming out on the same day as well. People actually doing double bills to go see it. What else have we done? Guardians, yeah. Like I said that before, Guardians 3 being really good. Nimona being a really big surprise for Netflix. Across the Spider-Verse being fantastic, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mayhem, which I'll save that for the next one. But what I'll say for that one now is go see that one as well because that movie is also very good. And yeah, so yeah, Greta Gerwig got me to care about a Barbie movie. I loved a Barbie movie. Okay, so let's get into it. But before I do, quick spoiler warning. This is obviously like all of my podcast episodes. These are all spoiler filled. I do not hold back on spoilers in these episodes. If you don't want this movie to be, if you're one of the 4 people that have not seen this yet, if you don't want this movie to be spoiled for you, go see, get the fuck out, go see the film, and then come back in and then listen to my spoilery thoughts. Or if you just don't care about spoilers, then stick around and have a listen. And there's a siren going outside right now, so God knows what that's about. Yeah. So let's get into Barbie. So let's talk about so I'm actually going to do a new kind of structure for this episode, because obviously a lot of the times I'll do make little long kind of like notes for the episodes, and I don't really want to do that because they take ages to do. It takes ages for me to write them out, and I'd rather really honestly just have it where I've got these bullet points as one sentence, and then that can be the topic of discussion. So the first thing I'm going to get onto is the plot of this movie. The plot being that Barbie is going through an existential crisis, and she has to go to the real world to find out what the hell is going on. Her feet are on the ground. She's having thoughts of death. She's having cold showers. She doesn't know what's going on. She has to travel to the real world, and she finds out that that a fully grown adult woman who used to play with Barbies when she was a kid has started playing with her again. And she has started, because obviously in this movie they established that the kid and the toy are both linked with one another. And you see that, you see what the effects that can do with Kate McKinnon's weird Barbie, which was hilarious, which I'll get to that in the character section. But the plot, yeah, I really liked the plot in this movie. I really liked the the characters, the story and the beats. I like the fact that of all the dolls and franchises, the fact that fucking Barbie is going through an existential crisis, which is cool. Really interesting. I never thought the fact that Mattel, the fact with it, I think the thing I love about this plot is the amount of crap that not crap, but the amount of stuff that the amount of like just bizarre shit that Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie and all the other talented cast and crew members, the fact that they were able to get away with what Mattel looked on paper and were just like, yeah, you can do that, it's fine. The amount of stuff that they'd get away with is just bizarre. Like the amount of like discontinued characters that they include, like Sugar Daddy Ken, the pregnant Barbie doll, having weird Barbie be what happens when kids play with their Barbies rough, which was a thing, and all the bizarre like outfits and everything, and then not just the fact that like even some of the story beats as well, like the fact that they do bring up all of the kind of problematic elements that that Barbie has had over the years, all of the controversies that Barbie has caused over the years. Like there's that scene where Barbie goes up to let's see what was just let me quickly get it up here. I'm just trying to find the name of the daughter. Let's see here. Let's quickly have a quick look here. Here we go. Yeah, Sasha. That's it. When she goes up to Sasha because he thinks, I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, when Gloria's daughter, who's played by Gloria's played by America Ferrera, I want to say. If I've got that wrong, I apologize. And Sasha is played by Arana Balt. I cannot pronounce his name. I apologize massively. I'm just gonna call it by a character name for now, just to because I don't want to spend the rest of this episode pronouncing somebody's name wrong. When Barbie walks up to her because she thinks she's the one that's been playing with her and getting all these crazy thoughts of death and stuff like that, and then it turns out that she's just spends the whole time roasting Barbie, being like, you're old, you're sexist, you've set women's rights back 40 years, and just like going in on that as well, stuff like that, which just calls Barbie out on a shit. Sasha's just sick of tired of Barbie's shit. Just like how Gravik was sick of tired of Nick Fury's shit in Secret Invasion, which was the last episode. So go listen to that if you haven't yet. Cheeky plug there. And yeah, so like that was a bizarre thing to add to the plot, because the fact that Mattel again let them get away with it, the amount of like patriarchy plot points, like with mainly dealing with Ken, like when he's in the building and he's talking to the manager of the building, and he's like, I thought you guys followed the patriarchy, and the manager's like, oh no, we do, we just hide it really well. I was just like, damn, like they're going hard on this. Okay. But yeah, the plot and the story I thought was really good. It was really impactful, and it did have its fair share of emotional moments, like when Barbie meets up with her creator, Ruth, who created her, And or when she sees, when she's on, obviously there's a scene with her on the bench. She sees a little old lady on the bench, and she just looks at her and tells her she's beautiful, because Barbie's never age, and she doesn't age. And the fact that she sees, she's seeing an old lady for the first time. She's like she's seeing age for, like, she's seeing age for the first time. It's just incredible, really. And that was a really incredible scene, really, to be honest. And the plot overall was just really good and just really sweet. And it was impactful and it was engaging. It had a lot of good political commentary, which was handled really well, which I'll elaborate on a little bit later on. And the comedy, which I'll also elaborate on later on, was just also really good, just really funny as well. But yeah, I really like the plot and stuff like that, and I loved how the contrast between the two worlds. Like, so how with Barbie world, the Barbies run everything, but in our world, it's the men who run everything and the women who are oppressed. And like on the Barbie world, it's the Kens who are oppressed. I like that. It's a kind of good commentary on why equality is actually very important, why you shouldn't have one gender rule the world. But I do also like the kind of thing that contrasted with that, where in the Barbie world, all the Barbies were making actually really good decisions and really good choices, which kind of says a lot about our recent world leaders that we've had over for the balance of decades we've had over the years, which is, like, that was crazy. The fact that Mattel even let that be in a Barbie movie, because you watch stuff like, well, not like you want to watch them, but you watch like the Barbie straight DVD stuff, and they're like they're brainless. They haven't got any heart. They haven't got any story. Like, they've got stories, but they're very basic, and there's no there's no thought behind it. There's no voice. That's it. There's no voice behind them. And this story has this film had a voice. It had a story. It had a kind of commentary that Greta Gerwig looked at and said, this is what I want to tell. This is what I want to get across, and gets it across really well. And it doesn't take very long for the movie to get going either. Like, the movie kind of, you just jump straight in. I really liked the fact that it was narrated a lot. There was a lot of great emotional scenes. I loved even the scene where Gloria is going through all the issues that women actually face in our society, in our culture today. How we always have to be this, but then and all kind of the things that they have to do, but the things that also contradict that as well. Like, we have to be this, but we can't be too much, or because we'll come off as braggy or something like that. Where it's just like, it really does make you make you think. Really does make you think and make you realize just how hard a woman's life in the world really is. And I wouldn't say it's like a full. It's not. This is not an attack. I've seen people trying to argue oh, this movie is an attack on men. I don't really think it's an attack on men. I think if anything, the movie's kind of just pointing at men and going, hey men, look, we love you and everything, but we are sick of your shit. And I love that oomph and that kind of that oomph and that commitment to that narrative and to that kind of thing where they don't hold back in this movie. That's what the one thing I love about this movie. That's probably why it's rated 12A here in the UK. It's rated 12A here in the UK because of how it crosses the line. It really it pushes that 12A rating to as far as it can go with some of the jokes and some of the plot points in it and into it. I really liked Ken discovering what the patriarchy is, and him brainwashing all the other Barbies, but you get where he's coming from though. It's not like one of those things where he just decides one day, oh yeah, I'm just going to take over Barbie world, because why the fuck not? You get why he does it. You don't agree with him doing it, but you get why he does it because of how the way he's treated and how the way Barbie kind of like he says in the song, I'm just Ken, where I see love, she sees a friend. And then there are times when you see Barbie being a little bit mean to Ken, but that Ken really should have caught on that he's just a friend, and a while ago. But you do see that, and you do feel sorry for him as well. But at the same time, I do like the fact that he's introducing patriarchy and stuff. How it's kind of like how how that stuff can brainwash you, and everything, which I really enjoy, which I did really enjoy seeing. I really liked how. Should I go into this part now, or should I save it for later? Because the political commentary. So I talk about that now. No, yeah. Let's talk about the political commentary now, actually, because the political commentary in this movie was handled super well, very well. I mean, Greta Gerwig was able to. There was the thing with political commentary, any kind of political commentary, really. I mean, everyone. The thing with this is that when I see people talk about it, talk about the political commentary because of the feminist viewpoint that this movie has going for it, which I really like and stuff like that. One reoccurring thing I've seen people say is that, oh yeah, like feminism, it always it always feels forced, or it always feels forced, or it always feels like it's being forced on us there, and everything else as well. And it's like, well, technically speaking, I mean, any kind of political commentary, you can do it with any kind of political commentary, really. But I feel like feminism always seems to be the one that always gets that criticism, really. And I wouldn't say a lot of the time it feels in movies it feels forced, per se. I would say that I would say it comes across studios are more just trying a little too hard to to try to appeal to that crowd. So I feel like if Sony ever did end up making this movie, it would have felt like they're trying way too hard. It would have felt like like when like they're going, oh yeah, women, we love women. It's like when a grown man goes, oh yeah, no, I love women, I support feminism, yeah, and you can tell that he's just saying that, like he doesn't actually mean that, and yeah, that's what it comes across sometimes. I wouldn't say forced, but it does come across for some studios. It's like they're trying a little too hard. And that's the same, but that's the same with any political commentary, really. I mean, just feminism always seems to be the one that everyone kind of picks on for when it comes to that kind of criticism, which doesn't make any sense to me. Because any political commentary can be that can be forced upon you, like like feel forced or anything like that. Yeah, really. But the way that it's been handled in this movie, I feel like has. Where they don't hold like, it's not like they hold back on the commentary in the story, that they do commit to it as well, but it's done in a way where it's made by a filmmaker that actually wants to tell the story and actually wants to implicate this commentary in a smart, unique, and creative way, and not feel like trying too hard, because Greta Gerwig, she is a feminist after all. I feel like her actually being a feminist, and directing this movie, she knows better than anybody how to implement that into the narrative without feeling like without that feeling of trying too hard. And the political commentary again was handled really well, and with the plot points and the jokes and the arcs and the emotional moments as well. Particularly at the end when Barbie decides to actually become human, like that really. That was like, wow, like that was pretty deep. When she decides to become human, and like when and the final scene where she's talking with Ken, and Ken just opens up to her and says, it's never just Ken, it's always Barbie and Ken, and that's when Barbie kind of Barbie realizes how badly she has treated Ken, and how important Ken needs to find himself so he can be Knuff, as the film like how beautifully delivers that pun. I love that pun, Knuff or Kennedy, or the puns in this movie are fantastic. But we all love a good pun here, really. We all love a good pun. But it was handled really well, the political commentary through the scenes and the dialogue, and Greta was able to get across perfectly. And yeah, she just did a really good job with the commentary. It was way better than than any kind of commentary that Secret Invasion was supposed to have, which barely had any of that, really. Looking back at it now and thinking about it, yeah, what was the political commentary in that show again? Yeah, and whatever commentary it was, there was very little of it. But yeah, no, I thought it was handled really well, and the jokes and the humor really helped as well. Like, I feel like adding humor to it again, like the scene when Gloria is naming all the stuff that that women have to go through, all the funny little moments with Weird Barbie, all the moments with Will Ferrell and the board and the people of the board, how they're all men, and how they're all men, and how they're portrayed, and how and how like they're like, oh no, we need to put you back in this box. You can't be free. We can go back to Barbie world, but like Barbie wants to find out more about the person that's been playing with her, but also find out more about the real world as well. And find out more about how much damage how like potential damage she has caused and given people in the past. And yeah, so I feel like the commentary was handled really well through the humor and stuff like that. I really loved the. I'll get onto that comedy when we get to that. Actually, I've got a completely different section for that. But yeah, political commentary was handled really well, woven into plot really well, and yeah. So let's move on to the characters, the cast of characters, because there is this cast is a big man. This cast is huge. Well, I mean, it has to be because there's so many different Kens and different Barbies, and I really love the fact that how many different Kens and Barbies were implemented into the plot. And these weren't like ones they made up for the film. No, all of these are actual Barbies, and you even see that at the end credits. Where they actually show you the actual toy, like the actual doll. Like, and some of them were just shocking to find out. Like there was a fucking pregnant Barbie at one point. Like Barbie's pregnant friend, Alan. The fact that Alan like got made into one doll and then was pretty much irrelevant for the rest of history. And I just love the fact that that was his character. And Michael Cena did such a good job as Alan, by the way. I really loved that joke at the end where they're celebrating because they've gotten the Barbie world back from the Kens. And he actually teams up with Ken because obviously, Alan's whole character is that he's Ken's best friend. And so he cares about when Ken goes through this existential crisis, same with Barbie, about being a real man. I don't know why I say it like that, but I do apologize for that. But so I'm trying to be a quote unquote real man, and he helps the Barbies out so he can get Ken back to normal, and back to normal as he hopes. And he's just there celebrating with them. He's like, "Oh, I'm so happy right now." It's like, poor Alan, poor Alan. Or how like multiple times he's like, "Hi, I'm Alan, by the way. I exist, by the way." Because the Kens act like they're forgotten about, but Alan's really is forgotten about in this. But yeah, seeing all the dolls as well, like Sugar Daddy Ken at one point, like that was crazy. And the fact that they got Rob Brydon from Gavin and Stacey as well was good. Airing Magic Ken as well, played by Tom Staunton. Let's see here, John Cena as a Merman Ken, I thought was quite funny. Stereotypical Ken. Artist Shudi Gatwa was the artist Ken. Taurus Ken was Simulu. I can't pronounce. If I'm pronouncing anything wrong, I do apologize. And then obviously there's Beach Ken, who's done by Ryan Gosling, and then you have Proust Barbie, Teen Talk Barbie, Barbie Video Girl, Diplomat Barbie, Mermaid Barbie, Journalist Barbie, Judge Barbie, Lawyer Barbie, Dr. Barbie, all the other Barbies, Weird Barbie by Kate McKinnon, Skipper, which was I think that was that Barbie's was that oh no, Skipper was another doll. Skipper was the doll that broke into the real world the first time round. Midge, I think Midge was the pregnant doll, if I remember correctly. If I'm not remembering that, then I do apologize for that. Oh well. Pregnant. She was the pregnant Barbie, which was crazy. I also love the fact that when the Mattel CEOs got in there and they saw Skipper, but he was like, "I thought we just continued her. Why is she still here?" So I mean, the cast as well did such a good job. I mean, Margot Robbie was perfect as stereotypical Barbie. Kate McKinnon was great as Weird Barbie. Her comedy was really good as well. But Kate McKinnon's always been good at playing those waird kind of wacky characters. Like in the 2016 Ghostbusters movie, for example, which I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I didn't really like it either. I think it's just okay in my opinion. But I do like Kate McKinnon in that movie. I think Kate McKinnon's good in that movie. I didn't like that movie. Other movie she was in. What was it? It was the one about the Beatles. Yesterday. That was it. Yesterday. I didn't really like that movie, but I liked her in it. And all the other actors as well. Issa Rae did great as President Barbie. Emma Macri did great as physical Barbie. Love sex education actors in this actually. Like again, you got Emma Macri, you've got Shooty Gatwa in this, but then you have the guy who played the bully as well in sex education. Connor Ryan Swindles playing Aaron. Like because obviously he plays the bully in sex education. Let's see. Just want to quickly. Yeah, Adam. He plays Adam in Sex Education. So yeah, a lot of sex education actors in this. But I mean, it's a good show. I mean, it's a good show. Why wouldn't you want some good sex ed actors in there? Will Ferrell was great as the Mattel CEO. I love the fact that they took the piss out of the amount of Mattel jokes in this, and the fact that Mattel actually let them get away with is terrific. But I do like this whole thing of him playing these CEOs. I did see a theory where people were claiming that because obviously he's basically playing a live action version of Lord Business from the Lego Movie. That's pretty much what this character is. But I do love it, and I love the fact they're quite these stuck up CEOs who they don't actually they get women, but they don't actually get women as well. America Ferrera as Gloria. I mean, she's a great actress, and she was also great as Gloria. I love the connection between her and Barbie. I like the contrast between her and her daughter as well. How when Gloria was a child, she always played with Barbie. She loved Barbies. But with Sasha, she's complete opposite. Modern day. A modern day character. They hate Barbies. A bit more outspoken. A little bit more fuck the patriarchy, basically, than her mother. I do like that contrast between the two of them, and the arc that those two go on is also really lovely. In the fact that obviously, yeah, it's an arc we've seen before. They get closer and closer as time has gone on. But I really do love it, though. I like how Gloria kind of learns more and more about the fact why Barbie was so controversial, and the damage that some damage Barbie did do over the years, but also Sasha learns that some of the good that Barbie has done over the years, and it brings her and their daughter together. And the fact that Sasha's like, we gotta save Barbie world, how important that is, a world, women have their own world that they basically run. And the fact that the Kens are trying to take over. But also, but again, Margot Robbie was great as stereotypical Barbie, and the standout of the show, though, I mean, out of all of the Kens, it's got to be Ryan Gosling as Ken. This man needs an Oscar for this role. I'm not even taking the piss here, because he was terrific as Ken. There was just something about, because obviously I've seen Ryan Gosling in movies before. I think we've all seen Ryan Gosling in movies before, but never really I can't remember the last film he did where he was a lot like this, where he's more goofy, he's a little bit more over the top. This movie delves more into his more comedic kind of aspects, where movies like Blade Runner 2049 and Blade Runner Drive, and The Notebook, and all that stuff, delve more into his more dramatic chops as well. I think the closest one was The Good Guys, the one they did with Russell Crowe, directed by Shane Black, I think, directed that one. If I remember, yeah, he did. Yeah, Shane Black directed that one. Yeah, that one delved a little bit into his comedic chops, but this movie really delved into it, and I love that. I love the fact that just how oppressed the Kens actually were. The fact that they're homeless as well. That's just crazy. We don't even know the fact where they live, but he's so hilarious, and he's so when he's discovering the patriarchy for the first time, he's like a kid in a sweet shop. It's he's running around learning more about the patriarchy and being because he gets there's that woman that asks him for the time, and he feels respected. He's like, oh my god, she respects me. Oh my god, I am man, and she respects me. I rule. I need to bring this back to the Kens. And then when he's traveling back to Barbie Land on his own, he's just laughing like a maniac the whole way there. I thought it was really funny. The other Kens did great as well. Taurus Ken was a great kind of weird antagonist for Beach Ken, which I really liked. Basketball Ken by Kingsley Benadir, which again, he was great as graphic, but he was fantastic in this as well. He was really funny. Shruti Gatwa was terrific as Artist Ken. I mean, but Shruti Gatwa is a fantastic actor, and like he's great as Eric in Sex Education, and his doctor in Doctor Who is the one thing I can't wait to see that in action. Like that's going to be terrific. I mean, all the set photos and all the different outfits and all the different costumes that we've seen him wear, terrific. Chef's kiss. Shruti Gatwa, powerhouse of an actor. So glad he was in this movie. I'm glad they paired him up with Emma Macri again from Sex Education. That was a nice little kind of reference to that show. All the other Barbies as well, like Kate McKinnon was good as Weird Barbie. Like I said before, I love the joke where she was like, "I'm Weird Barbie. I've got a weird hairstyle. I'm played roughly with, and I smell of basement." And it's just like, yeah, and then and the fact that she has the hair and everything as well. The attention to detail as well was terrific in this movie, and like the sets and everything, like the way the sets were designed, like particularly in Barbie World, where the sets and everything were terrific, and all of the pink in this film. There's so much fucking pink in this movie. I mean, the fact that there was a ton of pink in this movie, but like pink is the color for this film. But it's I don't know. There's something weird about it. Like it just, obviously it's Barbie, right? So it's going to suit the movie, but it really suits this film. But again, I guess that's what Greta Gerwig, she's always had a mask. Like again with Little Women, the way she used color in that one for the flashbacks and the present day scenes as well. She's always had a knack for color. And color correction, using that to help tell the story. This movie will make you appreciate the color pink. You will show an appreciation for the color pink after this movie. And pink's alright. Pink is a good color though. I love the color pink. I mean, like I dated a girl with pink hair once, and that she was able to she rocked that hairstyle perfectly. Definitely. But yeah, pink's always been a good color. As well, and just the fact that all the pink in here, and the fact that they caused a pink shortage. I think people were framing it as around the world kind of thing, but in reality, I think it was more with Warner Brothers. They ran out of the color pink. They caused a shortage of pink in the Warner Brothers studio, and they ran out of the pink because they used pink so much in this movie. Like everything, there is so much pink in this. And just seeing all of the different ways that the color pink is used to represent the Barbie world and Barbie land and everything, it's just terrific, really. And the sets look really good as well, and the effects look really good as well. They looked practical, like they didn't look. Obviously, they obviously did use CGI, particularly when they're traveling from Barbie world to our world, and everything. And obviously, they did use CGI for backgrounds and stuff. But you wouldn't tell. Really, it looked kind of like had a very kind of play school kind of vibe to it. Those scenes, which kind of is the point because it's set in Barbie's dream house and everything. But yeah, you wouldn't. But yeah, it did look good. But I do have my fingers crossed that I do think they probably definitely had some practical effects in there, like when they're lifting Margot Robbie off of the house and throwing her down to a car. You really that was obviously done with a wire and stuff, but I do hope there was some practical effects in there. But yeah, and I'm talking about the characters, aren't I? Yeah, I'm talking about the characters. So I should get back to the characters and get away from the sets. But all the characters were really good, man. They were fantastic, and seeing all these actors, they were having so much fun in this movie. Everyone's having a good time. Helen Mirren as the narrator also was just terrific. I love the joke as well when where stereotypical Barbie is crying because of she's lost her house, she's lost her world, and then she's crying, and I think she says something like, "Oh, I'm so ugly" or something like that, and then Helen Mirren is like, "Word to the filmmakers, Margot Robbie is not the right person for this scene to get this point across." Like that stuff like that was just that was hilarious, and all the other jokes as well. Like she's like, "There are no other Allens. He's just Alan. He's just Alan." Like that was funny. That was funny to me. All the cast did a good job though. All the cast as well, and it's such a packed cast as well. I mean, you can tell the actors here wanted to do it. I mean, there was some actors here I just did not expect. Like, I didn't expect John Cena to be in this movie, but the fact that he agreed is just fantastic. That's just fantastic. That's just fantastic. Absolutely fucking fantastic. John Cena decided to be in this movie. But they all did a great job with the work they were given. They had a really big, strong script as well to help back him up, and yeah, and it was just a good time. They had a good time, and it was just enjoyable seeing all these actors just have fun working on a movie, as well. And you could tell that from what they were doing, from their acting, basically. Let's get into the comedy of the film. So obviously, yeah, not every joke in this movie lands, but that's to be expected of every comedy. You're not going to be laughing at every joke, but most of the jokes in this movie land. Like they're just hilarious, to me. Like every joke involving Ken or the Kens, like the what was it, Dojo House, the Dojo House, that he ends up getting, as well, which is really cool. And yeah, so like that's like, stuff like that is really funny. Barbie going through existential crisis, that was really funny. You know, like when she gets the flat feet, and that everyone's just shocked by her flat feet because they've never seen that before. Because Barbies always have like, their feet upwards. Um, let's see, anything. All the jokes again with Sasha, like when she was telling Barbie about all the damage that Barbie has done to the world. How, you've set women's rights back 40 years. You suck. You're old. No one cares about you no more. It's just like, damn. She's really giving Barbie a hard time. She is really giving Barbie a hard time. Yeah, like it's just. But yeah, like what else? Well, the joke when the builders try hitting on Barbie, and she's like, "Oh no, I don't have a vagina. He doesn't have a penis, and he doesn't have a penis either," which is true. Which is, and they're just like, what? Why are you saying this? Um, Ken learning about the patriarchal system, and like seeing the doctor, and she's like, "No, you're not gonna perform an operation." He's like, "But I'm a man," and she's like, "But I'm a man," and she's like, "But you're not a doctor." And he's like, "Can I speak to a doctor?" And she's like, "I am a doctor." Like, stuff like that conflict's really funny. The beach joke though, like, "Oh, I'm gonna beat you off." That joke ran on for a little bit too long. Um, but look, some of the jokes aren't gonna land, yeah, but most of them do, and they're terrific for it. The "I'm Just Ken" song is a great song. I hope that and Peaches, from the Mario Brothers movie, that gets nominated for best original song from at the Oscars next year. I would love if both of those end up in the same category. I don't care who wins; either of them can win. I don't care. But like, I just hope both of those get nominated. That would be a great time at the Oscars if that happened. Um, and yeah, and then like again, all the jokes they make at Mattel's expense, as well, like all the things about the snobby CEOs acting like most unorthodox, and like, "Oh no, we love women," and then they're just not listening to Gloria, when she's trying to suggest stuff. There was that joke where they were talking about Skipper, and they were like, "Oh," and the fact that the FBI like know about the Barbie world as well is just like, that's just hilarious. That's just so funny. That's just so funny. The fact that the FBI know about the Barbie world. When Kate McKinnon's Barbie is explaining the time and space continuum, to Barbie, it's like, this is a Barbie movie, right? Like, why are we talking about space time continuum in a Barbie film? But yet the fact that again they have that commitment to it, and Kate McKinnon's delivery and everything, where it's, she's proper serious about it, is hilarious. The scene where she's like, "You can go back to your normal world, or you can learn the truth," and Bobby's like, "I want to pick the high heel, the first one," and I know she's like, "No, we'll do a redo." And she's like, "No, I want to pick the first one." And then she's like, "There is no other option. You have to go to the real world." It's just gives up. And she's like, "I just give up on this." When she's trying to fix all the other Barbies because they've been brainwashed, and even little things like when it's the humans, and she looks and goes, "Humans." I don't know why, but the way that Kate McKinnon like delivers that line makes just really funny to me. What else? There were definitely more jokes as well. Like when they're all kind of running around in the offices, like it's kind of like a weird, like, a Billy Hill, kind of sketch. All you really need is the music to accompany that, or it could feel, yeah, like it felt like a bit of a sketch from an old comedy kind of TV show where they were running around and then they're bumping into each other and then they're going different directions. It felt like a bit like Scooby-Doo. That was it. Like when Scooby-Doo, when they're running through corridors and running out different doors and stuff like that. Except it's in an office, and then And I also really like the fact that Will Ferrell isn't actually in this movie as much as you think he would be. Because again, like I do love Will Ferrell as an actor. I think he's really good as an actor. He's a very great comedic. He's a great comedic presence in anything he's in. But he can get. I feel like given the wrong script and the wrong character, he can get kind of annoying at points. But again, that just depends on the project and the direction he's given and the character he's given, the script he's given. I feel like if you tone his comedy down a little bit, I feel like again you turn it down a little bit, and then like it can work really well. The same thing kind of with the Lego Movie. He wasn't as goofy and silly and as goofy and silly and over the top in the Lego Movie as he usually is. Like he's quite down to earth. Not down to earth, but more stripped. If anything, even when he's playing Lord Business, he's still like that. Which I like, and again, I do like the fact that his character in this is basically just a live-action Lord Business. It does kind of suck how because obviously Warner Brothers were the ones that made and distributed the Lego movies, but then they didn't renew their deal with Lego, and now Lego is owned by has a new deal with Illumination. I think it's Illumination. It's either Illumination or Universal, just one of those two. Well, I mean, it would be probably Universal then because they own Illumination. But it sucks how they lost that. They didn't renew their deal because I would have loved it if the character he plays in this is the dad from the Lego movie. Like it's all connected now. It's all connected now. But I guess it just wasn't meant to be. It was not meant to be. There's so many other jokes as well that I cannot. It's been a while since I saw this film, so I'm blanking on a lot of them. The stuff when you find about Sugar Daddy Ken. Excuse me, I just burped there. Sorry about that. About Sugar Daddy Ken, and Sasha's just like, wait, a sugar daddy, and he's like, oh no, it's not you think. This is my dog. She's named Sugar. I'm her daddy, and it's like, oh god, and that's not even a joke they made. That's not even a joke they made out for the film. That's actually what they marketed him as. That's why he's called Sugar Daddy Ken, because he has a dog called Sugar. And it's like one of those things where you think about it and you're like, Mattel, what were you smoking when you came up with that idea? What were you thinking? What was going through the mindset at the time? I really want to know this. It's like half these Barbies and half these dolls, even though they brought in as jokes. You want to kind of know what was the thought process behind this? What was the thought process behind a pregnant Barbie? What was the thought process behind Skipper? What was the thought process behind Alan? You want to kind of delve more into this universe and find out what was exactly the reasoning for all these different dolls, and why they decided to make them. But we'll probably never get that. We might do. You never know. There might be a sequel, although I kind of don't want a sequel. But we'll get onto that a little bit later on. I think my favorite joke though in this entire movie was the joke when President Barbie, who's played by, I mentioned her name earlier, Issa Rae. That was it. By the way, I loved President Barbie. I thought she was a great character. This one joke when President Barbie is, they've taken back Barbie Land. The Kens come back to the houses, the Mojo Dojo Casa house. That's it. Back to them, and they find out that they've lost the houses. The Barbies reclaim them, and President Barbie's just like, "Yeah, we're taking back our houses, motherfucker." And it's like she actually says the word "motherfucker," but they have to censor it from a Mattel sticker. That is just genius. That is just brilliant. That is just. Oh my god, that's just hilarious. I laughed so hard when that joke, and everyone did. Everyone was just cracking up. I love this movie, and I love, all the women in my screening were also cracking up a lot of the jokes as well, because, a lot of, this is a movie, it's a very feminist movie. It's got a feminist point of view to it, and so a lot of women will definitely get a lot of the jokes in this, and will kind of in a weird way kind of relate to a lot of the jokes and points made in this. I read a story recently that apparently a lot of women have actually been breaking up with their boyfriends because of this movie, because a lot of them have been like, oh, I don't get this movie, I don't understand it, and they're like, yeah, you know what, you're not for me, I'm dumping you. That's a real thing. I recommend you googling that. That is an actual thing that's been happening. So watch out, fellas. That last part is a joke, but if they broke up with them, it was for a good reason. I forgot my train of thought now. What was I going to say? There was definitely a train of thought I had going on there. Oh yeah, that was true. So I was actually watching the Double Toasted podcast They did their review of this movie, and one of the guys who was presenting it was talking about how when a lot of the pointing out like what women have to go through every day. They have to be this, have to be that, and what men do. How men behave and stuff like that. One of the guys was talking about how there was a couple behind him, and she turned to her boyfriend. She was like, "You did a lot of that when we first started dating." And it's like, oh no, oh god, like it is definitely like it's because it like again, like I said before, this is not an attack on men. It's not really an attack on men. This is more just again women kind of going, we love you, but we are sick of your shit, sick of your shit. And yeah, so but I do like the fact that again they do like call out men for their kind of like problematic behavioral patterns, but they add a lot of good sense like there's a good sense of humor to them as well. Like it's it's not just yeah you bad and you do this. No, there's humor behind it. It's funny. There's a good sense of humor behind it as well. So men can kind of again men can laugh at that, but also kind of learn that oh god, do I do stuff like this? I need to change. Yeah, and again, the comedy in this movie was fantastic. There were so many jokes that I just laughed at. I just burped again. I'm really sorry about that. And yeah, so the comedy in this movie was really good. In it, let me just talk about the ending as well. I've got references here, but honestly, I think I've mentioned a lot of the references to like the Mattel dolls and stuff like that. Mattel's history and everything. The fact that they were able to get away with a lot of stuff. So instead, I'm gonna replace this with emotional moments because me, I love a good emotional moment in my movies, and this movie definitely has a lot of them. Like when Barbie's trying to connect with Gloria, trying to find Gloria in the real world. And she started feeling a lot of these emotions, and she starts crying as well for the very first time as well. That's definitely a very good kind of emotional moment there because she's learning how to be human, like because Barbie has had this kind of mindset her whole life where she's the perfect doll. She can do anything. She's always got to be happy and always got to be smiling and everything. So when she finally starts feeling a lot of these emotions as well that women and a lot of just people in general go through every day, and she starts crying as well, like because and she doesn't know exactly she sees the tears coming out of her eyes and she's like, well, what are these? what is this? And when she asks Ken and stuff, I don't know what's going on with me, and then the woman behind her is just like, yeah, anxiety, it's terrible at this age. And other much moments are like when she meets her creator Ruth for the first time, which FYI I love the idea that the creator of Barbie has has an office in Mattel on the 7th floor. I really love that. And there were a lot of Stanley Kubrick references as well, actually, like the 2001 A Space Odyssey thing. Like we saw that in the trailers, which I thought that was just going to be made for the trailers, but no, the fact that they was in the movie was terrific. I really loved that. I love the fact that like you just see the girls just smashing up the baby dolls they have because they want this big huge Barbie doll, which is just crazy. But anyway, back to the emotional moments. When she meets her creator for the first time, she starts talking to her. But we don't know who she is yet, but you kind of get a little hint about who it is. In there, I kind of had a feeling it was going to be Barbie's creator, given the way the plot was going, and everything, and the way that scene was set up, and also the fact that she said, I'm Ruth, which means Barbie's creator is called Ruth, because that's who the actress is playing. Let me see if I can find the actress name. Rahia Jo Perlman, that was it. Ruth Handler, who's the co-founder of Mattel. And the creator of Barbie. Those scenes are really good, and at the very end as well, when she apologizes to Ken and she says to him, you are enough, you're Ken enough, you're enough. And then she just decides, what, I want to be human. That's a really good, powerful moment. Like her and Ruth kind of step into the void. She says goodbye to the other Barbies and her friends because after what she's gone through, what she's been through, she wants to be human. And she acknowledges the failings of her and Ken acknowledge both their failings, and and she even says to Ken, encourages who are you without me, encourages him to find out he's his own identity without Barbie. Because as he says, that's a very good emotional moment as well, where he starts like when he says to her, it's Barbie and Ken. It's never just Ken. He has no identity, which makes him a very sad character, really. But yeah, again, the scene where him and Barbie do apologize to each other. And then like she decides she wants to be human because she too wants to find her own identity. She has no kind of after all this stuff that she goes through, she needs to find her own identity in the world. And so she asks her creator, can I become human? And even her creator just says to her, we have no story. Well, Barbie's story has no set ending. Human beings do. But she says goodbye, and she decides she becomes human, returns to the real world because she wants to. I think the idea. I think the message really is like she wants to become human because she wants to make a difference, or no, actually no. It's because she wants her own identity. That's why she decides, I want to become human. I want to be Knuff. Basically, that's what the whole point of the joke at the end is, where she asks to see a gynecologist, which I thought was hilarious. I also love the fact that she decides to she adopts the name Barbara, which is good because obviously Ruth named the doll, named Barbie after Barbara, after her daughter Barbara. I mean, and yeah, so she. So Barbie wants to become human, and it's a good, powerful, emotional moment as well. That both her and Ruth are in this white void from each other. The whole thing with Ruth, though, was she actually a ghost or was she actually there? Because apparently, Will Ferrell's like, oh yeah, her ghost haunts the 7th floor, but everyone can see her. So like, where is it? That part I got a bit mixed on, but again, maybe I missed something. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if I've missed something or not with that. But I do like the fact it's Barbie asking her creator, literally asking her creator for permission. I want my own identity. Can I have my own identity? Can I be human? And her creator's kind of like, you don't need to ask me. You can decide that yourself. And like the fact that Barbie gets given the choice and she chooses it, it's a good, powerful moment. And I think the song done by the very talented Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For? Which is a really, really like powerful song. The fact that, again, this is in a Barbie movie is just crazy to me. Very crazy. But again, Billie Eilish has always been a massive talent, and she's going places, man. She's already been places, but she's going to go to more places as time goes on. Her song for No Time to Die as well was terrific. I love that song. But yeah, like that song helps with the emotions, help with the more kind of the powerful emotions that Barbie is feeling, that Barbie is going through. And it's a really good scene. It's a really powerful scene. The fact that Barbie is now out in the real world and she wants to find her own identity, and then she decides to see a gynecologist because she's human now, so she very clearly now has a vagina. Which I thought was hilarious. I really did like that last gynecologist joke. I thought that was really funny. But again, that joke was to also show that she is Knuff. Like, she doesn't have to make this big statement or have to go through this big change. Just existing and being in the real world and getting to experience being human is enough for her. She is Knuff, as it is pronounced in the movie. So the emotional moments in this movie are really good. And overall, my thoughts on Barbie overall, it's a great time. It's fun, it's bright, it's colourful, it's really fucking funny, it's really written, it's well directed. Greta Gerwig completely knocks this out of the park. The characters are fantastic. The actors are having a ton of fun. My audience was having a ton of fun with this movie as well. There's so much pink in this movie. I would recommend. I did not wear any pink when I went to go see this movie, and I regret that. But that only because I didn't have anything pink, unfortunately. I wish I did. But maybe I don't know. If they do a sequel or something, I'll wear pink to that. But but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Barbie. Honestly, people, Barbie is one of the biggest surprises of this year. I think. I've had so much fun with this movie. I knew I was going to like it because I've loved Greta Gerwig's other work, previous stuff. But yeah, on the scale, this film has been getting the reception. This film has been getting so much praise from people, and for a good reason. It's a terrific, amazingly done film. I don't know what else to really say. Go watch it. Go see it. If you're one of the four people that has not seen this movie yet, by all means, get your ass to the theater, and then just go see this movie because it is a ton of fun. It is a ton of fun, and it is just enjoyable. It's got a great message. It handles this political comment. It's feminism commentary incredibly well. It's woven in. The plot is great. The characters are great, and yeah, I would recommend going to go see this movie. Yeah, out of 10, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Out of 5, I'd give it a 4. It's a terrific movie, and you should definitely go see it if it is still in theaters. And I would normally end my episodes there, but no, we've got a few more topics to discuss before we wrap shit up. So yeah, let's talk about them. Let's first talk about Greta Gerwig's future as a filmmaker. Like, what else this woman has got down the pipeline? And we know that. Well, we already know what she's got down the pipeline because it was announced a few weeks ago. We have her. Let me just quickly bring it up here. Let's see. Well, that's her acting roles. I'm looking. I've got a Wikipedia page up here because I'm trying to find it. Wait, she was on. She's a writer. She wrote the new Snow White remake. Oh wow. I mean, I'm not going to go see that because I do not watch the live action Disney remakes. I avoid them at all cost. Unfortunately, so I'm probably not going to watch that. But I am going to watch. Okay, I can't find it anywhere on here, but yeah. So basically, she's doing the Chronicles of Narnia for Netflix. She's doing 2 movies for the Chronicles of Narnia for Netflix, and that is I was a bit like, oh wow, really? Because that's such an out of left field choice. But then again, she was a bit of an out. She wasn't really the typical choice you would have for this movie, and well, this movie has done super well, and so I feel like Netflix probably heard good word of mouth from Barbie and from people in the know, people in the industry, and they decided, hey Greta, do you want to do Chronicles of Narnia for us? Let's direct some Chronicles of Narnia films for us. 2, she's doing 2 for them as well. Like, it ain't just one. This is a double bill that she's doing, which is crazy. But yeah, like I think I'm interested because obviously again Greta Gerwig, she likes to try and find the feminist kind of viewpoint, the feminist angle with these properties. She did that with Little Women. She also did that with Lady Bird, but that was kind of her own creation. So she was able to and she did that with Barbie. Like Barbie is a feminist movie. Like what? And she's able to do that with the Chronicles of Narnia. She'll be able to do that with the Chronicles of Narnia. Which I'm really looking forward to because I'm really interested in seeing this because the Chronicles of Narnia are because obviously she's very feminist. She's a very feminist, a very feminist director, very feminist woman. She supports the movement. Doesn't like the patriarchy very much, as you can probably tell from this movie. But the Chronicles of Narnia are very, very they're very Christian. They're heavily religious films. They're very They're very heavily religious books. They're still fantasy books at the end of the day with talking lions and witches made of ice and stuff like that. But end of the day, they're still they've got very lot of Christian values to them, very Christian themes to them as well. So it's gonna be, but that's not a bad thing though. Like if anything, that makes me more interested because I want to see where she goes with this. I want to see how she handles that. I don't think she's gonna completely. I've seen people go, oh no, she's gonna to ruin it. She's gonna completely ignore them and stuff like that. But it's I don't think she is really. I mean, she didn't ignore any of the problems that Barbie has caused women over the years. She didn't shy away from any of them from when she did this movie. So I don't think she's going to shy away from the more Christian themes, religious themes of Chronicles of Narnia. That she'll do for Netflix. So but I am more interested in doing that, in her doing those. The only thing that I'm going to say about those is that I really hope that she does. I really hope that she does. I'm losing my train of thought here. Let's see. I really hope that she does more the Narnia stories that have not been turned to movies yet. So I hope that she's. They don't. I don't want to see Kronks and Lion Witch and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, or Voyage of the Dawn Treader again. Just because we've already had that, I want other ones. I want the Boy and His Horse, the Magician's Nephew, the Silver Chair. I want to see those stories told in a big budget movie kind of style for for the big screen. Although granted, this is Netflix talking about, so this will probably be on a streaming service. This probably won't get a theatrical release, or they might do it. They might decide, oh, let's do a limited theatrical release run. Maybe, I have no idea, but we'll see. We'll see. We will see on that one. We'll see on that one. Don't worry. And yeah, so I can't wait to see that, but I also can't wait to see what she's got what else she's got lined up in the pipeline, because she even says that she's looking to move beyond small scale dramas, and she's got a big ambition to be a big studio director on the kind of the same level as Chris Nolan, Spielberg, and all those other guys. I think she can do it. She can definitely do it. She can achieve that easily. Because she's incredibly talented, and just she knows what she's doing. She knows how to tell a good story. She's very intelligent and very, she's a filmmaker that the more the more of her work that I see, the more the more she gets. She's just getting better and better with each project as she goes along. And the more I hope she achieves that dream. I hope she becomes that big studio filmmaker. Because I do think she deserves it. I think the fact that she started with Midnights and Weekends, which came out in 2008, and was this kind of very low budget, kind of almost found footagey kind of thing. Well, not found footagey, but the way it was filmed and stuff like that. Kind of looked at it, but looked at the long distance kind of relationship setting, which I've not seen. I've not seen Midnights and Weekends yet, but I might check it out afterwards, somewhere down the line. I do want to see what she comes up with for Narnia, because I think that would be interesting to see. I've got no big worries about that. I'm more interested to what she has down the pipeline, what she's going to do with that franchise, and yeah, so I can't wait for that. Again, she's writing a screenplay for the live action Snow White, but I'm not going to be watching those because I'm not the biggest fan of live action Disney remakes, unfortunately. I'm just not the biggest fan of them. I've only, out of all of them that they've made, I've only liked 3 of them. And that was Jungle Book, Cinderella, and Christopher Robin. And that last one I don't even think technically counts as a live action remake. That's more of a live action continuation of the first animated Winnie the Pooh movie from what was it, the 50s, the 60s? I think that movie came out around that time. And yeah, so I'm not really the biggest fan of the live action Disney remakes. Unfortunately, I didn't like Lion King. I watched it on Disney Plus. Fucking hated it. I didn't like Beauty and the Beast. I'm not bothering with any of them. I'm getting burnt out by them. The fact that they're just going a little bit on a rant here, but the fact that they're remaking Moana after the movie's not even 10 years old and they're already remaking it. Why? And apparently there's rumors running around that they're doing a live action remake of Tangled now. Really? Oh god, it's not gonna be long before we get Frozen in live action, which is crazy because Frozen 3 just got announced earlier this year, and god, there's gonna be I bet you anything that live action remake will come out 2 years after Frozen 3, 100%. I guarantee it. I'm just not a big fan of live action remakes. I'm sure the script that she's written for it is fantastic and great and all that stuff, but I'm just not a big fan of live action remakes. I'm not seeing that. But I will watch the Chronicles of Narnia one though, because I feel I do want to see what she does with that one. If she was directing the Snow White remake, I might make a small exception. I might go see it. If she was directing it, I would definitely go see it. But it's being directed by Mark Webb, who's not a bad filmmaker. I loved 500 Days of Summer. I loved what was it? I loved 500 Days of Summer. I loved, I liked the Amazing Spider-Man film that he did, and I'm glad that he's getting more work again because he kind of went off the radar a little bit, Mark Webb. I just wish it was not a live action remake of a Disney movie, and yeah. So, but yeah. Anyway, so Greta Gerwig, she's got a great future ahead. I can't wait to see what she comes up with next. Fantastic. Well, I'm not really. So I said earlier that I don't particularly want there to be a sequel to this movie because I feel like this movie is a pretty good standalone thing. I feel like you don't really need a sequel to this movie. It's a great standalone piece and everything. But that's not stop Mattel. I do got a feeling Mattel are probably going to do a sequel. But if Greta Gerwig doesn't come back for it, I'm not gonna bother watching it if Greta Gerwig ain't involved because if I just feel like it wouldn't work if Greta Gerwig wasn't involved, unfortunately. But another thing that I'm not really big on is the cinematic universe that Mattel has decided to put in development because they have not one, not two, but 45 movies in development. 45, all based on their toys and everything. And it's just why. Why? We don't need this. We don't need and apparently it's going to be the cinematic universe, and it's like not everything needs to be a cinematic universe. We've got a fucking Hot Wheels movie coming out, which J.J. Abrams said something about the Hot Wheels movie, which I was just a bit like, about being dark and about being gritty and grounded or something, and like, let me just quickly bring it up, but, let me tweet. Yeah, he said that it's going to be emotional, grounded, and gritty. This is Hot Wheels we're talking about here, right? This is Hot Wheels, right? This is the racing car toy that we all played with as kids. What? What? Why? Grounded, gritty, and emotional. What kind of emotional can you get out of Hot Wheels? I've got no idea. They've got a Polly Pocket movie in development. They've got an Uno movie in development. How is Uno going to work as a film? I'm not even. I've got no interest. I don't even want to see that. That's not even an idea where you hear it and you think, oh, I might want to check that out. No, I don't. You hear that and it's like an Uno movie. Seriously, Uno as a movie? Why? Just why? Just why? Just why? What else have they got coming out? There was a thing they did about balloons. That's getting a movie. I can't remember what it's called. What else as well? Let's see here. Based on that was a massive burp, and I do apologize for that. They've got an American Girl movie in development. They've got a Magic 8 Ball. Seriously, that's in development. Massive Universe. That's been in development hell. That's been in development hell for years. I highly doubt that that's ever going to get made. Unfortunately. Rock'em Sock'em Robot. I mean, yeah, but we kind of already saw that years ago with Real Steel. So I don't really see what's going on here. Christmas Balloon, that's it. Christmas Balloon. Why? Just why? Wishbone? What? Why? Again, why are these? Oh God! And the fact that they've greenlit 45 movies, I don't get why studios are doing this. They're still doing this. Did these guys learn nothing from the great cinematic purge of 2014 to 2017? Back when all these cinematic universes got announced and then ended up phasing into oblivion, the Ghostbusters cinematic universe, Sony's first attempt at doing a Spider-Man cinematic universe with the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. What other cinematic universes were there? There were tons. The Dark Universe, the DCEU now, or as I like to call it, one of the biggest disasters in cinematic history. That's gone so bad that they're now rebooting the whole thing in 2025. Well, hopefully, if the writers and the actors strike gets resolved, hopefully we'll see how that goes, how that turns out. Support the WGA, by the way. Support WGA. Support the actors. Support all those guys. Because everyone deserves to get paid equally. Wherever people can. Everyone deserves to get paid equally. And screw AI. We don't need AI in the film TV industry. That can go away. What else as well? There was even recently, we had Warner Brothers trying to make a Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. That was supposed to get kicked off with Scoob, the animated Scooby-Doo movie they had in development. Remember that? Yeah, that was supposed to start a cinematic universe apparently. And that did not happen. That did not happen. And because how the fuck is that going to work? How the fuck is that even going to work? So yeah, I don't know why movie studios are still doing a cinematic universe. I don't get it. I just don't get it. The only two of them that I am actually somewhat interested in seeing is the Barney movie they've got, and that's only because Daniel Kaluuya is involved, and but the way he's been talking about it, how it's going to be like this A24 type film, that has me interested. That does have me interested. I'm interested in seeing that. I want to see how that turns out. and the as I know, and as people have probably already guessed, because I mentioned this earlier, the Thomas the Tank Engine movie that they're making, that's being direct, and I'm interested in that one because obviously, like I said, I was more of a Thomas the Tank Engine kid growing up. So it was the Thomas Tank Engine was the first big IP that I fell in love with when I was a child. So it's got a very special place in my heart. So I'm interested in seeing that, but I'm also interested in seeing that because of the director, Mark Forster. Forster? Is it Forster or Forster? I can't remember, but yeah. So he directed Christopher Robin, which I mentioned earlier, but he also directed Finding Neverland, which I really loved. Strange in the Fiction, which I also really loved, and he also directed, and even the movie that came out early this year, A Man Called Otto. Came out in January this year. It's like, God, that was such a long time. That film feels like a year old now, but it came out in January. Jesus, that was really good. That was a really good movie. That was really sweet and really a nice soft January movie. Man Called Otto. If you can find that film anywhere, I recommend watching it because it is very good. A good performance by Tom Hanks as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with the Thomas Tank Engine franchise because he's really good at blending fantasy and reality together really well. Like he blends the two together and just has this way of making it work. I don't know. I can't really explain it, but he just has this way of have these fantastical elements, but grounding them just enough in reality where you don't really question it, which I really like. And yeah, so those are the only two out of these 45 movies that I'm looking forward to. Yeah. But yeah, the Mattel Cinematic Universe. I can't wait to see this crash and burn. We'll see how it goes, but yeah. And that is it, everybody. That is my episode on the Barbie movie. Again, go see this movie if you haven't already. Fantastic movie. And yeah, one of the best movies that came out this summer. And yeah, so but before I go, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping because I need to try and promote this a little bit more. As I've said previously, I've got a bachelor and a master's in digital film and television production. Unfortunately, trying to find work has become incredibly difficult, especially after the pandemic and everything. So I've set up a website. In the link below, you'll see my website, and on that you'll see more information about me, my credits. My show reel is on there as well, and basically, if you can share that website around, that'd be great. Just to see if you know anyone who's doing like a short film or anything like that, and they need help, just send them a website, get them to contact me. My contact details will be on there, and yeah, let's collab and work together to make some really entertaining movies. And currently I am doing this on a voluntary basis. I'm not doing this on a paid basis. I'm just doing it on a voluntary basis for now. And once I get my driver's license sorted out, I will be doing it on a paid basis. But as of right now, it's only a voluntary basis at the moment. So if you know anyone who wants any help on a project that they're doing, send them my way, and I will help you out. You don't have to be a regular viewer here. You don't even need to subscribe, to be honest. Just share my website around, help me find more work in the film and TV industry, and I'll be happy. And guys, thank you so much for listening in to another episode of My Isolation Podcast. The next episode hopefully will be up maybe next week, I'm not too sure. I'll see if Alex wants to join me for that, because the next episode will be TMNT, Mutant Mayhem. That'll be a lot of fun to talk about. And then after that, I don't know. It'll probably be it's going to be either Oppenheimer or Blue Beetle, depending on which film I see first, and which film I decide to talk about first. And yeah, so until next time, guys, I will see you when I see you next.